The AFC Championship game, Arrowhead Stadium, Kansas City and Cincinnati. In the first half, the Chiefs led 21-3. In the second half, the Bengals defense rallied, getting them back into the game. The Bengals scored 21 points in a row to take a 24-21 lead. On the Chiefs' final drive in the fourth quarter, they tied the game and sent the game into overtime. For a second straight week, the Chiefs won the coin toss, but this time, defense prevailed as the Bengals intercepted Mahomes on a bad pass to receiver Tyreek Hill, and Joe Burrow drove the Bengals down the field to get him in the field goal range. Ed McPherson, a cold-blooded assassin, kicked the Bengals into the Super Bowl for the first time since 1988. The Bengals won the AFC Championship game over the Chiefs, 27-24. The NFC Championship game, the City of Angels, the Rams and the 49ers. Back and forth these two teams went. In the fourth quarter, San Fran seemed to be in full control of their destiny, up 17-7. But Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, and the Rams would not go down without a fight, and they came storming back into the fourth quarter, scoring 13 points in a row to take a 20-17 lead. Jimmy G had an opportunity to drive the Niners down the field to tie the game or to win the game with a go-ahead touchdown. But the Rams defense held on as they picked off Garoppolo to end the Rams' 6-game losing streak against San Francisco. They won the NFC Championship game. The Super Bowl is set at SoFi Stadium, Cincinnati, Los Angeles. For the next 2 weeks, our Nation Sports Show has you covered for the biggest game of them all. It's showtime. From the gridiron to the court, talking all that is sports. Never said a busted open nation. Bring to you our Nation Sports Show. Here are your hosts, Ezra Victor, Joey Thornton, Kevin Rorie, and Stephen Wyand.
All right, here we go, folks. Let's keep rocking and rolling here. We got a hell of a show today. It is our Nation Sports Show. What's going on, everybody? Hope you all had a great week, had a great weekend. It is Tuesday. It is time to rock and roll all night and party every day, especially if you're us. But I am Ezra, and we are live here today. Thank you for joining us here on the show. We got a lot to talk about, man. Two of the best playoff games I've seen in a long time, which we'll get into shortly. Some big news in the NFL, NBA, a couple injury notes, and maybe a few things in MMA too as well. We'll get to all that just shortly. But first, the specifics on how you can follow us and interact with us on social media and everywhere else. Of course, you can hit us up on the Nation's Corner Discord GG/Nation's Corner. You follow us there. Hit up the our Nation Sports Show text channel and voice channel if you want to call in and talk with us. You can. Of course, right now we are live on YouTube, youtube.com. Search our Nation Sports Show. We are only 11 subscribers away from getting to that 100 subscriber mark to get that custom URL. Please keep sharing. Please keep liking our posts. your interaction in your likes gets us to that point, and it helps build our reputation as a great show. So keep on going, guys. Also, you can interact with us on social media, facebook.com/Our Nation Sports Show, discord.gg/ON_sports show. And of course, Instagram as well, Our Nation Sports Show. Follow us there. You can interact with us everywhere. If you want to talk about anything sports, hit us up. All right, enough of my yakking. Let's get to the crew. And as I always say, you wanted the best. They're not available, so you got us instead. These guys are here. They're ready to rock. Let's introduce our first man here. This man is our Oakland Raiders. I guess our Oakland Raiders expert, if you want to call him an expert. I don't, but that's just up to you. Randy Gyron, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Just want to say happy TB12 retiring day again. This is twice now. Guy couldn't stand that he wasn't part of the weekend, so he put out that fake post about him retiring, so everybody talk about it. Sorry, but get the hell out. Anyways, tomorrow's a big day for the Washington, whatever they're called, soon to be called. I think it's gonna be Indians. Wait, no, not the Indians, but we'll see. But
he'll cry for the Indians.
What's that?
He'll cry for the Indians.
You just had to make an Anthrax reference that only maybe two, maybe three of us will probably freaking get.
Right.
You're welcome.
Go home, Steven. You're drunk.
Yeah.
Joey Belladonna
was tone deaf. Anyways, so there's that. Anyways, yeah. That's the truth. John Bush Anthrax rules. Anyways, happy Tuesday, everyone.
Now, if this was a metal show, we'd be getting into that. We'll be getting into that discussion right now because I have certain opinions. I mean, we're not going to get into that because that'll go down a crazy wormhole we'll never come back from. That's the last thing we need is an hour-long discussion on John Bush versus Joey Belladonna. That's a whole show in its own right. Maybe in the future we'll come up with a metal show or a rock show. Who knows? But for right now, let's keep focusing on the damn sports. And that is, of course, we got to bring in, of course, our expert here, the 49ers. Unfortunately, bad week for the 49ers, but they played their hearts out, man. And they gave it their best effort, and we'll get more into that in just a few minutes. But our buddy here, KR Kevin Rorie, what's going on, dude?
What's going on? I hope everybody out there is having a happy Tuesday and ain't too hungover from this wild weekend of Championship Sunday. But what a great whole playoffs this has been. And as the fellas here on this show say right now, with the 49ers losing, I'm hurt more than Mary J. Blige right now. But it's going to be all right. We had one hell of a story, and it was one hell of a game for both of those that we'll get into. But I hope everybody's doing good out there.
Absolutely. It was a hell of a game. One thing I wanted to point out about Randy's comment real quick about the Tom Brady retirement thing. Hopefully his retirement is legit, unlike Kiss's retirement, unlike Ozzy's retirement. Yeah. When he comes back, what's it going to be called? The No More Touchdowns Tour? Anyways, moving forward, we got our buddy here. As I always say, he is our Atlanta Braves expert. He is Joe JT, not Justin Timberlake Thornton. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hope everybody's having a great Tuesday. And Randy, about what you said about Washington's new name, I'm getting concerned, man. I'm getting concerned, man. I don't want us to be called the fucking Commanders.
They're in the command center.
Anything else but that. So
Commander Aziz.
all I gotta say right now is help us.
The name, unlike Veer, is actually coming.
Damn.
And if you're a wrestling fan, you know that reference. And then finally, of course, as I always say, he's the matriarch of this motherfucking show. Without this dude, we wouldn't be here. And that is, of course, my heavy metal brother from another mother, Stevie motherfucking Wyand. What's going on, my brother?
What's going on, everybody? Man, what a wild championship Sunday it was this past Sunday. I hope all of y'all out there in sports land are having a phenomenal Tuesday. And let's go.
Absolutely. Now, before we get into the sports of the day, as we usually do, I wanted to throw this out there because a lot of us are metalheads, a lot of us are rock fans. I would be remiss if I didn't mention the news that broke a couple hours ago, and that is the passing of legendary president and founder of Megaforce Records, John Zazula, aka Johnny Z, a man who was instrumental in the world of metal. Without him, some of our favorite bands wouldn't be around today. He helped discover and promote some of these bands, including Anthrax, Overkill, Ministry, Fozzy, even with Chris Jericho. And of course, he was the man who helped bring Metallica to the forefront of metal by bringing the demo to guys like Eddie Trunk and radio DJs around the nation. If it wasn't for him and his late wife, Marcia Zazula, who unfortunately we lost last year, I don't know what metal would have become, but he was an instrumental factor in the music. He was an instrumental factor in these bands. Even Fraley's Comet, Ace Frehley's first band outside of Kiss, he was also a part of in that retrospect as well. So we would be remiss if we didn't mention that today. It's a very sad loss for the world of rock, world of metal, music in general. He was a giant beyond a giant. Worked out of his home, not in an office building. It did it the DIY way to bring these bands forward, and he will be missed by everybody in the rock and metal community.
Yes, I mean, just a huge loss for the metal community. I mean, this guy discovered a lot of great legendary bands, and and when he heard, I've read stories and documentaries have came out about Metallica and about how they got their start, and Lars and James and Kurt, all those guys are like, hey, he heard our demo and they're like, man, these guys are great. I got to sign these guys on the dot, because here and Hit the Lights, I mean, that's the first song they wrote and, and on the demo, and it's the first song in Kill 'Em All, and, and just started a revolution and went on to become the biggest metal band in the world. And he was a huge driving force in what Metallica was to become. And, and it's a very sad loss in the world of rock and roll and metal. I mean, just such a great guy. I mean, such a huge metal ambassador to the community of heavy metal.
Absolutely.
Every time you saw that guy, he had a big smile on his face. He was always happy. Him and his wife I always remember seeing them in magazines back in the day before phones took over. But he was instrumental in all that. And like I said, he was just a big fan first and foremost, and he will be missed. That's
Absolutely.
sad.
Absolutely. Like I said, with the bands that he discovered, including, like I said, Fozzy, even Chris Jericho's band was signed to Megaforce in the very early years.
That's right.
So definitely rest in peace to Johnny Zazula, Johnny Z, one of the pioneers of thrash in discovering those bands, and one of the leading charges of heavy metal. So rest in peace. All right. We got some football to discuss, gents.
Oh, yes, we do.
2 hella games last week, man. Two of the best playoff games I've seen in a long time. Both the offenses, defenses were on fire. It was a great showing by both teams. But let's get right into it. Let's talk about the Bengals and the Chiefs. The Bengals shocking the Chiefs, taking them out, and are now Super Bowl bound. It is incredible. Game-winning field goal by McPherson to end the game in overtime. Unreal. How does this happen? Nobody expected. No, that's the team nobody expected. Just like with the next game we're going to talk about. It's just insane to think about that the Bengals are now in the playoffs. I mean, it's not insane in the fact you got a high-powered, literally touchdown and pass-throwing machine like Joe Burrow as your quarterback, but I mean, it was just incredible showing by that team. But Kansas City, no slouches either. They gave it the best effort, but Like I said, Cincinnati Bengals, Super Bowl bound. Anybody have any thoughts on that game?
Just a crazy game. I mean, Kansas City in that first half was red hot. They could not be stopped on offense. I mean, Mahomes was Houdini at times in that first half. I mean, just dancing around, him and Kelsey, and Tyreek doing their thing. And he was 13 of 14, 150 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. And just the way they were playing, the defense was playing well. Joe Burrow had no room to throw at times. The running backs had no room to run, and the offensive line wasn't blocking at times. But then in the second quarter, late stages into the second quarter, Kansas City had the ball. They were down in Cincinnati territory at their goal line. And for some reason, Andy Reid calls one of the stupidest plays in football. You give Tyreek the ball thinking that, he's a great runner. He can dodge and juke and make all these crazy fancy moves to dodge Bengals. And it was a bad call. It was arrogance displayed right there. And Mahomes had the option to audible out of that play and say, hey, coach, I don't think that plays are going to work. Because when you're a defensive team, you have to be alert on everything around you. If there's a wildcat formation, or you're going to direct snap it to a tight end or a receiver or running back, whatever. And Cincinnati was not fooled on that play. Because when they snapped at the Tyreek and they said, he's running zigzag and he's not running, up and down. They're like, we got him. Boom. And they hit him. And then I'm like, what are you doing? That is a game-changing play. And in the second half, 3 and out on Kansas City's first series of the second half, and it was go time for Cincinnati. And Joe Burrow and those guys made the plays in that second half, outscored them in that third and fourth quarter, 21-3. It's crazy in that second half to think that in the first half, the Bengals looked dead. They were down by 18. And by that defensive play by Cincinnati at the end of that first half, sparked. That was just what they needed. And that was momentum that they carried on into the second half. And then just, Kansas City had no excuse. Because in that second half, everybody was like, Mahomes he's off. And I'm like, okay, yes, he's off. But you have to give credit where credit is due, because nobody is giving the Bengals defense any love in this game, because they changed their game plan and they outplayed and outcoached Kansas City in that second half. And that's why they ended up winning the game. And don't give me this bull crap that, Kansas City, here we go again. They won the coin toss in overtime. What did Tree say on his video last week on YouTube? What have we been saying on this show? What is everybody that knows the game of football has been saying? If you want to get the ball in overtime, play defense. And that's what Cincinnati did. They played defense. And Mahomes made a stupid pass, to go for Tyreek down the field. I don't know why he did that, but he did it anyways. And the Bengals took it away. And they capitalized and they won the game.
Steven, I want to first start off by saying how proud I am for the city of Cincinnati and the state of Ohio, because no one counted on Cincinnati to go from worst to first. Nobody thought they would. And I'm just so proud that Joe Burrow, this guy is going to have ice in his veins that like he does now. Like, this guy has got the confidence. He's got the swagger. He's got the arm strength. He got the playmaking ability. And he's becoming my favorite personal quarterback of the whole entire NFL because of how he plays the game. I love his game. But what's really important, like you said, they underestimate Cincinnati's defense. And they give up those quick 21 points and, Cincinnati's defense sucks. And we've said this on the show multiple occasions, and Ezra knows too. Everyone has a plan until you get knocked in the damn mouth. Cincinnati got knocked in the mouth. The key to them is they adjusted. They made adjustments out of halftime. And you know what? It was a foreseen call that we've been preaching on this whole season about what's wrong with Kansas City when they were slumping. What did I say? No number 2 receiver, a weak defense, and no running game. And guess what haunted them in this game? They couldn't run the ball. They could not when they locked up Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, Mahomes didn't know who to go to because they have no number two receiver.
He was lost.
Not one that's worth anything. And in the defense, you literally, I'm not knocking the Bengals, but the only problem they have, and I've said it on multiple occasions since the beginning of the year, they don't have an O-line. Joe Burrow beat this team with no offensive line. Imagine this team in the offseason that gets an offensive line. This team's going to be a Super Bowl contending team for the next 5 to 10 years easily, because you got Chris Jones, Melvin Ingram, all those guys, Frank Clark, and you get your hands on Joe Burrow, but guess what he does? Finds a way to make a play. He escapes the sack. He's hurdling defenders. He's getting out of the pocket. He's throwing the ball downfield. He's hitting Chase, Higgins, all his guys, mixing like it. I'm proud of Cincinnati for doing what they did and how they done it and all the obstacles they overcome. And I'm definitely, with the game we're talking about later, but I'm definitely pulling for Cincinnati in this Super Bowl coming up because I love the underdog. I love Joe Burrow.
And the reason why Kansas City has not won a Super Bowl in the last couple of years, well, especially this year and last year, they don't have like you said, a true number two receiver, because when they won the Super Bowl in 2020 over San Francisco, they had Sammy Watkins out there with Tyreek. And they had a running game, Steven. And another running game.
Another key is what happened. This Cincinnati defense in the second half was so much of a mirror image of how the Tampa Bay Buccaneers played Mahomes in that Super Bowl defensively. They had running around the pocket, scattering, spinning, twirling, running 20 yards backwards, trying to make a play just to get his ass hit.
Remember that one play? Remember that one play when he was running, he was like juking and jogging, going back several yards, and then he tried to run into one of the players, just wham, just knocked the daylights out of him. Like, oof.
Yeah, and when they got the ball to kick the game time field goal to send it to overtime,
he fumbled it.
What really, they about screwed it up. Mahomes doing all this running around, jumping 20 yards back. He fumbled the fucking football. If Cincinnati would have recovered it then, it'd been over. Luckily, they got a nice bounce, and his offensive lineman was able to get on it.
But the dumbest play calls in that second half screwed Kansas City, especially in the fourth quarter. You are on the Bengals 5-yard line, and you don't run the damn ball? I mean, it's
playoff football. You cannot leave points on the field. Take all the points you have to take. Yes. Don't do that stupid shit. How much have we been talking about Brandon Staley and the Chargers for doing that dumb shit? Now, Andy Reid, out of all people, wants to do this in a championship game? Come on, man. You don't do that.
He's a veteran head coach, and he should know better. I mean, when you're inside the goal line and you have control of the clock and the clock is your friend, if I'm not mistaken, Cincinnati didn't have a single timeout in that fourth quarter.
No, they didn't.
You coached against yourself. These coaches overthink, and that's a common theme within this year's playoffs. And I got to, real quick, before we go to Joey and Randy on this game, I got to give a shout out to friends of mine that live here in North Carolina, Danita and Chris Herring. They are huge Bengals fans, and I know they were just jumping for joy when they won that game on Sunday against Kansas City. They slayed the dragon once again.
Well, hey, I'm gonna go this route. As far as Joe Burrow goes, I don't think there's been a quarterback in the last couple of years that has had the run he's had in the playoffs and in the college. I mean, in those two college, with the first game, the playoff game in the college, he threw 7 touchdowns, right? And before halftime, and then he simply won the championship. They beat Clemson in the national. Am I right? Who was it? It was Clemson, right? Yeah, if I can remember. In the national championship.
Yep.
And now, I mean, in the NFL, he's been on his butt a lot, but just get this guy to the playoffs and see what happens. I mean, he doesn't look like anything ever phases him. He's something else. I don't think and like I said, any quarterback's been on a kind of a run he's been on, and he's Joey Burr. I like when people put that. That's cool.
Or
Joe
Joe
Cool.
Shiesty.
Joe Shiesty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that
Yeah,
too.
that one's funny too.
Be
It's
out there.
just impressive that he can do it with his college running mate that he did it with in college, and Jamar
Yeah.
Chase.
Yeah,
It's
yeah. They
very
just
impressive.
happen to
Not
get
many
him.
quarterbacks get to go to the league and keep their same number one star with them the
Yeah.
next year out of the draft.
Exactly. Yeah, and he's
And
not like
see, and not just
any guy. He's all world.
and not just that,
Mhm.
Not only does he have Jamar Chase with him, but he also has one of his offensive linemen with him. Because if you guys seen that picture in which, after the national championship game,
Yeah, the
that
guy's holding
same
him
O
up.
lineman carried Joe Burrow on his shoulders, just like he did this
Yeah.
past Sunday.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah, I saw that.
Let me to take a little break in the monotony here with this game. I just got word from Adam Schefter that the Washington name will be the Washington Revolution, in name of the Revolutionary War. Same war that our friend Elder Mongrovian Mike fought it.
Because as we all know, the great karate master himself, Mongrovian Mike, has served in many battles. God bless you, Elder Karate.
Absolutely. All right.
Anyways, continue, Joey.
He can't.
He
was
stayed silent.
He was mesmerized by it.
Oh my gosh!
Oh God, you guys
They
are
just
fucking
speechless.
awful.
I'll give you that.
I
You
stopped
guys
him
are
dead in
fucking
his
awful.
tracks.
You stopped him dead worse than Kyle Shanahan's coaching in that fourth quarter of the NFC Championship game.
Whoa!
Oh,
Damn!
hey, but
Go ahead, Joey.
I will say though, the Bengals, they played one hell of a game. The Chiefs just didn't have it in the second half, and this is just my honest opinion. My honest opinion. I think the turning point of the game was when the Bengals scored that touchdown from that pass on Burrow to Samaje Perine with like a minute and 5 left to go in the second quarter. Because I think that right there is what woke up Cincinnati. They're like, okay, we're down. I mean, we were down 21-3, but now we're down 21-10. I know the visiting team, but we can go out and play defense like we're supposed to play. Because we got our offense here behind us, so it's time for us to go out there and step up our game. And that's exactly what they did. They made Patrick Mahomes look like a fucking embarrassment in the second half. They really did. They shut down. They shut down Tyreek Hill. They shut down Travis Kelce. They shut down that run game, and they pretty much left Mahomes scurrying around on penguin legs, trying to find receivers that he couldn't find because, that Bengals defense was just all over him.
He was not tripping. He was not tripping over ghosts, was he?
Honestly, I think he
Oh,
was.
Daniel Jones.
Especially on that last play where he tiptoed and ran on penguin legs until he finally fumbled the ball when he really was barely even touched.
Well, I'm glad he didn't tiptoe through the window, but that's a different story for a different day.
Did he tiptoe through the tulips?
Hey, he plays like I'm playing Madden with my quarterback. Just, you ain't got no room to run outside. Just run back to the 50-yard line and heave it up. There you go, Mahomes.
But that Bengals defense made Mahomes look like a damn fool in the second half. So kudos to the Bengals for clinching their first Super Bowl since '88. Kudos to them.
I heard his tap dancing skills are so great that Dancing with the Stars is giving him a call.
Hey, but I do want to give a shout out for the Bengals, the defensive lineman for the Bengals, BJ Hill. Mm-hmm. He actually went to West Stanley High School in Stanley County, North Carolina, and he was actually coached by my defensive coordinator, Coach Johnson. When he went to be a head coach there, he actually coached BJ Hill.
Nice.
So representing North Carolina, just like you're supposed to. I love it.
Definitely, I agree with that. That was a great game, like you said. Mahomes looked like a damn buffoon out there tap dancing. He
Only
looked
had
like
55 yards passing the rest of the way and completed 44% of his passes. That is not productive at all.
No, that's not.
Two picks.
He was dancing around out there like he was Juan Crossier from Rat in all the videos. If you see that, you know that.
He went round and round.
Just give it time. Love will find a way. But anyways, we're gonna move forward on that. That was a good game. Congratulations, Cincinnati. But let's move on to the game that I know Kevin is excited to talk about, and that is the 49ers. And what was that? What was that other team? That other team? Oh, the Rams. That's right, the Rams. The team that I don't think anybody in LA really knew that there was a team called the Rams in LA. But with their quarterback who was on who's been on the shittiest team ever in the past 10 years. Sorry, Detroit fans. But but seriously, congratulations to the Rams. Congratulations to congratulations to Matt Stafford. A guy who's been through so much shit with that Detroit team all those years. Don't get me wrong, he had one of the best receivers of all time in Megatron himself, Calvin Johnson. But man, he was a part of some shitty teams, some shitty seasons. But
when I went in 2008.
Yep, but the man somehow come through, and his team is now Super Bowl bound. Kevin, you want to lead us off?
Yep, I'll take it. You could just, as far as a 49er fan, you could put that in a vault with the last 12 years of heartbreakers that we've had. Starting from the 2011 NFC Championship game, had a chance to put the Giants out and go to the Super Bowl. We fumbled the kick. 2012 Super Bowl, they didn't get the pass interference call that would have went after making that monster comeback. 2013 came up short in the championship game. 2019, we seen what happened in the Super Bowl. And now this year, which was an honest heartbreaker. Like, it broke my heart. It was horrible. But I'm going to start with the Rams perspective on this game.
Mm-hmm.
And all I'm going to say is, I know I sound like Skip Bayless. I sound like a hater. I promise I'm not. I'm glad Matt Stafford's got the chance. But Matt Stafford has been what I've been saying, and he's been overrated still for 3.5 quarters. Again, like the Super Bowl, but a different perspective. Jimmy G outplayed Stafford with a 125 quarterback rating. Matt Stafford threw a pick in the end zone. Matt Stafford damn near gave up the game on a silver platter, throwing a duck up in the middle of the field. That's when momentum just completely went the Rams' way, is when we dropped that pick, because Stafford threw up a duck on a silver platter for us to end the game, because at that point the Rams had no timeouts with 7 minutes remaining. And yeah, Stafford did not win that game. The Rams, what won that game for the Rams was not only Cooper Kupp offensively. What won that game was Aaron Donald in that front four. They shut down San Francisco's run game all night. They put the ball in Jimmy G's hand, which is everyone's supposed to be game plan to stop us. And Aaron Donald, like a true leader that he is, was on the sideline hyping these guys up. Get in the fucking backfield. We need to make a play. We need to rush them. We need to get a sack. We need to get hits. And they was able to step up in that fourth quarter. That's the only part of that team that I give kudos to, because was Kupp, and even Odell Beckham showed up, and that front four, because Stafford is not the reason they won this game. I'm sorry. It's that front four played spectacular in the second half. And matter of fact, people don't believe when I talk shit about Stafford. How about this for a fun fact? Stafford is tied for first in interception in the NFL this year with 18. Tied with Ryan Tannehill. I mean, I'm just saying, I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback. I'm just saying he throws up ducks and he makes bad decisions. He throws the game away. A little bit better than Jared Goff. That's why they got to that point they're at now. But as a 49er side of it, it's got to be heartbreaking. And everybody criticizes Jimmy in the fourth quarter. And as much as I shit on him all the time, I'm actually not putting the blame on Jimmy for the most part. I'm putting it on the fucking play call. I'm putting it on Kyle Shanahan for a third game now. Your play calling is awful in the fourth quarter. You literally had one job, and that's to get the ball in your best player's hands. here's this stat. Deebo Samuel had one touch the whole fourth quarter, and that was at the 12-minute and 50-second mark of the fourth quarter. Didn't get a single touch the rest of the game. That's where you fuck up, Kyle. You fuck up by, instead of running the ball on 3rd and 2, like we were talking in the pre-show, instead of running it right behind Trent Williams, you tried to trick the team, and you tricked yourself running the ball up the middle, and he gets stuffed nowhere. Kyle Shanahan's play calling was god awful, and Jimmy couldn't make no plays. That's mainly because, like I said, you got someone like Aaron Donald's big ass in front of you. You tell me how many quarterbacks are going to make that play anyway. I mean, they just stepped up. Kyle Shanahan couldn't get the ball in Deebo's hands. And for another game, just like the Super Bowl, it just collapsed on them. They couldn't make a play call. And like I go back to that interception that he dropped that changed the momentum, that was the same momentum shifter as the Super Bowl 2 years ago when Tyreek Hill converted that 3rd and 17
from the 35
beyond. Yeah, that was crazy. That's what shifted the momentum. But kudos to the Rams. But Jimmy Garoppolo, man, that was his last game as a San Francisco 49er. He said it today on the show. In the press conference, he pretty much said that him and John's done talk about a possible trade destination where he wants to go and to save money, cap space, obviously, and that Jimmy G, that's his last game. And he just told the Niner faithful, like myself, he loved everybody. He appreciates the opportunity. It's been one hell of a ride. And as much as I'm in the group chat talking shit about Jimmy G and his decisions, more than anything, I got to give big respect to Jimmy G. And I'm being serious here for a minute. Jimmy G, without him, when he came into this, when he got traded from the New England Patriots back in 17, I said, or 18, whichever one it was, I said, we don't know about this guy. At that time, we had freaking Brian Hoyer as our starting quarterback. We was a 2-win team, for God's sake.
I think it was 17.
Jimmy G, just him, he might not make the best decision, but you can honestly say the guy's a winner. The guy's a winner. The guy's a leader, and he led his team. And here's a crazy stat for you if you don't believe me. Kyle Shanahan with Jimmy Garoppolo was like 36-14, 36-13. Kyle Shanahan without Jimmy G, 6-26. Tell me, I mean, it's not, he found a quarterback that runs the system. So, and Jimmy G, the way he handled this offseason with the quarterback controversy, like, oh, they drafted your replacement. They drafted your replacement. How much leadership did it take? He could have folded and said, man, fuck you guys. I want to go then. Y'all want me gone? No, you know what he did? He took Trey Lance under his wing. He said, hey, look, I'm going to teach you everything I know, big dog. I got you. I'm going to teach you how to play quarterback. I'm going to groom you. I'm going to be what the 49ers want. True integrity on Jimmy G's part. So all the bashing and shit, I ain't going to bash him. I give him, if anything, I give him big props because he turned our organization back into a winning culture. Now we went from the basement like the Carolina Panthers, but now we were winning. The last 3 years healthy, the 49ers have been a winning organization. And that's a lot to do with the Kyle Jimmy era. So wherever Jimmy Garoppolo gets traded to, I hope they give him a chance to trade him to an organization that's ready to win, maybe playoff bound. Like you said, Steven, maybe the Tennessee Titans would be good, Pittsburgh Steelers. I just want to see him have a chance to win, and I hope he does good in his career.
And
But
Garoppolo,
kudos.
He's gonna look good in orange and white. He's gonna be a brown. Poor Sap. He'll be a brown.
and Garoppolo was signed to San Francisco or traded to San Francisco in 17. So he was there in 2017. And, this game was up and down. It had all the drama that we were looking for in a football game. It was so close throughout the majority of the game. I mean, my God, the opening drive by the Rams, they were marching up and down the field and Stafford threw the pick in the end zone. I'm like, oh boy, we had a feeling this was going to happen. And that defense was playing lights out, and Kyle Shanahan had a great game plan so far throughout the game, and Garoppolo, hey man, it's a game. Don't turn it over, but the Rams defense needs to be credited in this game because they played an excellent game. I mean, the front four was just headhunters, just, taking their shots, and we got to get hits, got to get sacks, make him work, stop the running game. And they were very critical in some parts of that game because when the Rams were down 17-7, we're like, oh, this game's pretty much over because the Rams are just going to have to make some stops so they want to get back in this game, and credit to them stopping the run game, from Elijah Mitchell and Deebo Samuel and all those guys, because man, if they were able to get open lanes and find the hole to run through, they could have easily eaten a good 5 to 6 minutes off that clock, and they knew that, hey, we got to get our guy, the ball, and Stafford, I mean, he didn't have an excellent game through the pick, and he should have thrown that second pick. I don't know where the hell he was throwing that ball. It was an ugly throw. And that right there would have been the game because that is an easy interception playing center field. I got it. Damn it, I just dropped it. And Tarp said it in his press conference, man, during practice, I was not dropping a single ball. And in the biggest game of his life, to have a chance to win the game for your team and put you in the prime position to go to the Super Bowl, drops the ball. And I mean, Cooper Kupp.
But I like his attitude about it. I like his attitude. He pretty much, and I love it because he has something that Dak Prescott never had, and that was accountability. He said, I let my brothers down. I feel horrible. I let them down. That's my fault. I'm sorry. Dak Prescott and any Dallas Cowboy, don't have that shit. So I love the accountability he had. And I got to say, too, there was a bunch of questionable calls on both sides, I got to say. But I counted 5 delay of game calls that never got called on the lines. There's a ominous picture of the play clock at 0, and the ball still ain't been snapped multiple times. Just like the prior week against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Lions, the ref was supposed to spot the ball, and they never did. That's why now they got the fucking Cowboy fans up in a fucking roar. I ain't spot the ball. No, you dummy. The ref ain't did what he was supposed to do. That's what that is. And I'm starting to think I'm not saying that's why the 49ers lost, obviously. I'm not going to be a damn Cowboy, for God's sake. But the refs have been favoring the Rams after 2 weeks worth of their calls, and I can see it. And I think it's more of a narrative thing, like, oh, we want to see Matt Stafford go for that first beloved ring. We want to see Stafford there. And it's in another home Super Bowl. Man, that sounds great. I don't like that.
And here's another thing. I mean, Cooper Kupp, I mean, he was, I don't know how the hell this guy, does what he does. I mean, even when you cover him, he finds a way to catch passes. Stafford was able to find him in critical spots of the game, and just, I got to give, we have been picking against the Rams the entire time in these playoffs, and they keep proving us wrong. And, and I got to give a lot of credit to Stafford. I mean, this dude did not win a single playoff game in Detroit. And he goes to the Rams. A huge gamble has paid off. And another thing about these two games, there's a common theme in these two games. Both of these head coaches played to lose the game because Reed gave the game away with some of the calls that he was calling, not running the ball. And McVay was about to throw the game away several times because he
lost every one of his damn
timeouts. I'm like, what are you
trying
doing?
To challenge stupid calls. Like,
you're giving.
That's
not
one
only
thing
that,
you're taught not to challenge the spot. Do not challenge a spot because 9 times out of 10 you're not winning.
And
just
not only that,
for the down.
But Shanahan was already convinced that he was gonna. But even then again, Shanahan second guessed himself because he went ahead and punted because he was like, okay, our defense can stop them. And to be honest with you, Kevin, I mean, the Rams were going up and down the field the majority of the time. I mean, it was back and forth, but the Rams were going up and down the field 60, 70, 80 plus yards. And I'm like, this Niners defense is really good, but there's times where they're struggling on the defensive end because they got 2 touchdowns and then those 2 field goals. I mean, you know
I
what
mean,
I mean?
but then what do you expect? Your offense has been out there not producing crap, and your defense is on the field. They were on the field for 80% of the snaps in the first half. They're tired. They're fucking wore out. They're tired of chasing Cooper Kupp. They're tired of running this way, doing this and that. They are fucking tired. And even then, how many points did they give up? They gave up 20 points on the road in a championship game. That is excellent defense in today's era. Like, your offense should give you 24 to be able to win the game, and they didn't. They let the defense down. And after the game, I don't know if people saw it, but Deebo Samuel was broken into pieces, crying. And if anybody is making fun of him, they're just pieces of trash and they don't know the game, because football is an emotional game. You have a guy who isn't a wide receiver. He's a weapon. That's his position.
There's no crying in football. Oh, sorry, wrong sport.
He has the most productive season possibly out of any weapon / receiver in NFL history with his season. 600 yards rushing, over 1,000 yards receiving, 17 total touchdowns. No other receiver has done that in history.
And it started in the Super Bowl.
To lay it on the line, get this far and come up short. I know he's hurt, and I just hope he gets the chance next year. I know he's going to get paid this offseason. He's going to get paid big money this offseason. I just hope he gets the chance next year with Trey maybe develop to be able to be back in the same position so Deebo can shine. And here's a hint. Next time, Kyle Shanahan, get the man a fucking touch in the fourth quarter.
Exactly.
One touch isn't going to cut it.
And not only that, but when Shanahan and them, or when Garoppolo had the ball, they had 2 running plays that went nowhere, negative. You mean to tell me on 3rd and 2, and even 4th and 2, when you should have gone for it because you were on the Rams' 45-yard line. You mean to tell me you have all these plays in the freaking book and you cannot come up with one single play to get Deebo the ball? Just a simple pitch and catch. Bam, first down. There you go. Keep the chains moving. Kyle Shanahan.
Screen, anything.
Yeah,
Fucking run the ball.
Yeah. And, find a way to get the ball to your favorite targets on a quick slant or a quick cut, in route, curl, whatever. Shanahan overthinks these games. This is why I hate to say it. He will never win a Super Bowl because he overthinks the game. In the Super Bowl with Atlanta, 28-3, the Patriots were down. When the Patriots were coming back, you still should have ran the clock out. Because by throwing the ball, you're taking the chances of the clock being stopped with incomplete passes.
Steven, if you take a look at a guy like an Aaron Rodgers, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Rodgers is a quarterback that knows that he doesn't need to throw the deep ball. He doesn't need to do fancy schmancy moves. All he's got to do is throw a short pass down the middle, a short pass on the outside, a quick slant route. That's all he's got to do to get maximum yardage as long as his receivers are open. He's smart. His coaching is smart. Unfortunately, we can't say totally the same for San Francisco. Like you said, Kyle Shanahan overthought a lot of these plays. And when you overthink things, you're not only making yourself look bad, but you're making your team look bad because you're questioning yourself, which is not giving your team confidence. Because if you're not confident, your team's not confident, what does that do?
Exactly. Because by overthinking these things, you're just playing yourself to lose. I mean,
but let's be honest here. Out of every one of those 3 games, not trying to be biased, especially, he was in Atlanta. He was he had the better team on every single one of them games this day. That Falcons team should have put the Patriots away. He had a better team. He played better for 3.5 quarters. That Niners team in 2019 had the better team. They dominated defensively for the first 3 quarters. The game, we all know the Rams, the Niners had the better team, especially coaching advantage. Shanahan owns Sean McVay, but that just goes to show you've got to play 4 quarters of football. And Shanahan's problem is, okay, like we just talked about, how are you going to respond after getting punched in the mouth? Shanahan has one hell of an offense, but once you stop the run and have to make him reroute his game plan, Shanahan's like, oh, what do? I forgot I can use motion. I forgot I can hand it off to receivers on end around. I forgot to line Deebo up in the backfield. Come on, man. You can't go stagnant after your first game plan goes awry. You got to make adjustments.
And this is where I think, honestly, Garoppolo, he's a quarterback. I know he was always a system quarterback in San Francisco, but he has the option. If he thinks this play's not going to work, he has a chance to audible. And I think that's where Garoppolo was being limited at times, because he was being used as a guy like Alex Smith to not turn the ball over. And Garoppolo, like Alex Smith, was very successful for the most part. But when the game was on the line, Garoppolo did not make the plays because Shanahan did not have the confidence in him to make those plays. Especially, I think his confidence was shot when he overthrew a wide open Emmanuel Sanders down the sideline in the Super Bowl against Kansas City. I'm like, well, there goes his confidence. I mean, you had the game right there on a silver platter in Super Bowl 54 in 2019. And ever since that, he has not been the same because Shanahan.
No, he hasn't. And I agree with you, because what would the narrative be for? I mean, it's a what if, but if Jimmy makes that play to Emmanuel Sanders, what would be the narrative? You wouldn't have no Jimmy haters no more. You wouldn't hear this, oh, Jimmy, yada, 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 sucks, yada, yada. Oh, nah. He would be known as a young, poor man's Tom Brady or a poor man's Aaron Rodgers who comes through in the clutch. But because he missed that, not only do you got people who jump on his shit all year round, now you got trust issues with your head coach, and that just drives offense wild. Because if he makes that throw, Kyle trusts him. Lord knows how many games they win after that because of the trust.
You know who I would have compared him to, Kevin, if he would have made that play? Kind of like another version of Eli Manning.
Manning, yes.
Because when Eli was in the playoffs, I mean, I know it's a Three Dog Night song, Eli's coming, but damn it, when Eli was in the playoffs, he was coming for blood. He was coming to make the plays when it mattered the most. Oh, you doubted me all regular season long? Well, guess what, y'all? I'm going to come out here, play my ass off, and make the plays when they matter the most. And that is where
2011 New England Patriots over the shoulder to
Manningham.
What's his name? Manningham. Yeah, that was a spot on.
2008 in the Super Bowl against the 18-0 New England Patriots. He is getting grabbed by the jersey by multiple Patriots. 3rd and 5 from the 35-yard line, and he corks a bomb. The David Tyree, and he hangs it on his helmet somehow, presses against his helmet, and that right there was the momentum swing play because Eli had the confidence to make that play. If Garoppolo makes that play, not the same play, but if he makes the same huge play in the Super Bowl, his confidence would have went through the roof, and Shanahan would have been like, yes, this is why we brought you to San Francisco, because we knew when the game was on the line, you could make that exact play. And after that happened, Garoppolo's confidence went out the door. And I got to give him credit even after that game 3 years ago. He handled himself pretty well. Hey, I didn't make the play, but a guy like Samuel who wears his emotions on his sleeve. Deebo Samuel is one of the most underrated players in the National Football League. This guy can catch balls, run balls, and hell, even throw a ball for Christ's sakes. And this guy knows how to play the game, and he's a young guy. And I got a feeling he's going to be a future superstar, and he's just getting started. I mean, even when he was injured during the season, Deebo was out there making plays, especially on that 3rd and 7 on their final drive against Green Bay in the snow. I mean, it's just there's a lot of questions for San Francisco this year in the offseason, and it starts with the head coach. What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
They seen the ceiling that Jimmy Garoppolo has. They seen the ceiling, and now they want to get a little greedy and say, well, what if we get a guy with a slightly higher ceiling that would put us as Super Bowl champions? That's all they want. But what Jimmy brought to the table is going to be hard to find. You can find someone who can throw accuracy, but can you find a leadership guy? Can you find a guy who you hear Deebo and Kittle, like they fight for Jimmy. They kill for Jimmy. He's our guy. Debo's like, y'all talk so much shit on Twitter. He said, y'all talk so much shit about our quarterback, but what's his winning percentage? Oh, he's got a Patrick Mahomes percentage, right? All right, then. How many guys can you find to play quarterback that's going to have his locker room behind his back like that? He brought a winning culture to the 49ers. And the guy's tough as nails. Yeah, he's injury prone, and we nag him about that. But the guy played through an injury that took Drew Brees out last year for 5 to 6 weeks with that thumb injury. Jimmy played through it and a sprained shoulder. So I got to give respect to him. He's not going to be Aaron Rodgers, but I got to give respect to the balls that he showed playing throughout this whole year.
And, another play that I just thought of in this game from this past Sunday that also shook his confidence, you miss Kittle down the field 50-plus yards. Boom. That right there could have been a huge play in the game. And he missed him. I mean, Garoppolo.
That's the fact you got big-ass Aaron Donald in your face about every other play. That scared the hell out of me. It scared the hell out of Tom Brady.
That's true. Because I'm telling you, I mean, people, just the way this Rams team has been playing, I mean, they made Brady look bad in that game. I mean, for the most part, Brady was uncomfortable in the pocket, and I mean, this Rams defense has been playing really good in these playoffs, and, but they've been on a roll this year, and beating Tampa Bay, and they almost blew that game. And it's still shocking as hell that they didn't lose that game, because they blew the lead, and then this past Sunday, all the Dodgers were right there. Oh, you've lost 6 consecutive games against San Francisco. Can you beat them? Yeah, we can. Oh, but it's going to be hard. Yeah, we know, but we can beat them. Well, you got the players out there. Go out there and play, and they did. And it was a great game. I mean, it was the perfect championship game, and the crowd was just so loud. I mean, all 49er fans were there, Rams fans. Yeah, Ticketmaster, that bullshit was ridiculous. Ooh, we're only excluding the game to only Los Angeles fans. Are you kidding me? There's 49er fans and, even in Los Angeles. I mean, come on.
Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty much just those scores right there pretty much set up the week for the NFL. I mean, of course, we got news to talk about. Let's get into that news right now. Of course, it's finally been confirmed, even though we kind of knew already that it was bound to happen, but Tom Brady officially announced his retirement today via a long Instagram post. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. I'm not going to even read it.
That's a crock of shit right there. Who the hell needs to write a freaking 700-page damn post? I mean, what are you writing, a damn essay?
I could let him do my senior project then in high school.
Yeah, I know.
On,
Dude,
Brady.
I did my shit on
freaking
journalism.
It's like one of my term papers. It's like one of my term papers I did it freaking when I was in college for a little bit.
Dude, I did. Kevin, when we were in high school, and Joey, we were at Richmond Senior High in high school, I said, I want to do my senior project on journalism and economism. And damn it, I did. And I just
you should let Brady do it.
Hey,
I know.
Hey, fun fact, Steven. We had a term paper in one of my, I think it was an English class or some sort of like journalism English class.
Yeah.
You know what I did? I did my term paper on?
What?
Ronnie James Dio, Black Sabbath.
Yes. That's metal as hell, brother.
Guess what? I gotta be on it. So there you go.
Anyways, that's terrific. That is terrific. I mean, come on. I mean, and that was just so ridiculous. When I heard that he came out with that long Instagram post, I'm like, what the fuck are you writing out? An essay paper? You're giving a speech?
He should have just did it in the Players Tribune.
I know.
He should have just did it in the Players Tribune, not 3 fucking different windows of fucking typewriting.
Another issue that I had with this retirement, I mean, we knew it was coming, but okay, so you had these reporters, Adam Schefter and, and all these different guys reporting on this. Oh, Brady reportedly is announcing his retirement, here soon. And Brady was on his podcast yesterday with Jim Gray and Larry Fitzgerald on Let's Go. And he's sitting there going, oh, I'm still going through the process. Bullshit. 12, 14 hours later, in a long paragraph, a long speech later, I'm retiring, guys. Come on.
Yeah, he leaked that stuff this weekend just so he could be relevant. I'm glad that guy's gone.
I respect the guy. He had a hell of a career, but at the same time, the whiny baby is gone. And at least for us football fans, we got to celebrate for once when it comes to Brady, because for once in his life, he got called for unsportsmanlike conduct by the greatest referee of all, not Ed Hockley, his boy, Sean Hockley.
To be honest, I was a little sad that Brady did retire. I read his post and I felt a little bit deflated.
Yeah, good one. Yes.
Like a Patriots
The guy got handed two
football.
Super Bowls.
All
Yeah.
them years on the New England Deflatriots paid off.
That's right. He got handed 2 Super Bowls. I mean,
Hey,
the cheating son of a pup. I'm glad he's gone.
I heard that he went in there and he was sitting there typing this out, and somebody tried to knock some out of his hands, and he had to tuck it in.
Oh, that's bad.
That's what she said.
hey, guys, you guys, hang on. You guys are missing the key point here.
What?
You guys know where Tom Brady's Instagram post came from, right?
Where?
He took a look at Ben Roethlisberger's letter and spied on it.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys want to know when Adam Schefter came out with that report and everybody said it wasn't live or whatever. And how about what if the roles were reversed? What if Adam Schefter had Spygate? Adam Schefter was spying on Brady before he officially announced his retirement. Karma comes back around.
Wouldn't that be funny? Wouldn't that
No,
be
but
funny?
like, in all honesty, though, I think seeing how these quarterbacks have played out this year, this is a new era of football now.
Yes,
It's
it
officially,
is.
they've been passed the torch. Ben Roethlisberger, Aaron Rodgers, no matter what his saga goes on, his tenure in Green Bay is pretty much over. And now Tom Brady have officially been replaced with the torch by the likes of Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Joe Burrow. And I love it.
Man,
You know why his time in Green Bay is over? It's because
You done messed up, AA
He's
Ron.
running out of toes. It's over because he's running out of toes to count on how many times he's choked. He done used all 10 fingers. Now he's going to use all 10 toes.
Yeah. I mean,
This
you know,
little piggy choked this year. This little piggy choked next year.
and this little piggy went woo all the way home. See ya.
And this little piggy's broke.
I mean, in all seriousness, I mean, I know we're ragging on Brady here, but I mean,
He
Brady
deserves it.
knew, but yeah, coming from a Raiders fan, he knows that tuck game all too well.
Oh, yeah. That's
Right.
where
That was
the
low.
tough rule was born.
That was more loaded than Pollard's hit to Brady tearing his ACL.
Mm. Oh, no,
that was more loaded than Metallica's '95 album. I couldn't resist that one. Sorry.
Yeah. And but in all seriousness, I mean, the end of an era has finally ended in Brady. Thank God, because even though we've all, with the exception of Randy over there, all of us have respected Brady for his accomplishments in the game of football. 10 Super Bowls, 7 Super Bowl rings, 7-3. Ironically, all 3 of his losses were to the NFC East. And all the championship games with the Patriots, the run with Tampa Bay in his first run in 2020, taking them to the Super Bowl, beating Kansas City 31-9. Brady 5 Super Bowl MVPs and all the great accolades that he has in his career. I mean, Brady's great. He's the GOAT, but no offense, glad you're gone. And the new era of the NFL has already just begun because you got these young gunslingers. And, a couple of years ago, we were wondering, hey, what future quarterbacks out there are going to become the Peyton Mannings, the Tom Brady's, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, Roethlisberger, the Montanas of the world, Brett Favre, etc.
Found him.
Definitely. Let me get to one thing. Let me say one thing. Joe, why do you look like you're filming in a walk-in closet trying to hide from your significant other?
He does.
He's spying on something.
Stuff up and
Randy looks like he's in the witness protection program.
I am. I gotta hide from TB12. He's got all kinds of connections. I gotta hide from his ass.
Ready or not, here he comes. He's gonna find you. Anyways, so we were all wondering what future quarterbacks are going to be out there, and it didn't take long to find them. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert. I mean, all of these guys have experienced,
Good
big
God.
games. We have so many great guys in this league that are going to take over this league. And those 4 quarterbacks that I just mentioned, they are going to be here for years to come. And I look forward to Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, and if Derek Carr could stay healthy, him being in the bunch, and Herbert, and all these guys. I mean, man, the NFL, Kyler Murray, all these guys.
I was about to say, you guys can't forget about the one who was voted to the Pro Bowl over Josh Allen in the first place.
I forgot about him.
Lamar Jackson.
Lamar
A
Jackson,
glorified running back.
Yeah, hey, he reminds me of Michael Vick and Cant Newton. Especially Cant Newton. At least Michael Vick actually had a couple of good years in the NFL, but Cant Newton was cursed by the football gods in Super Bowl 50 onwards. You're going to suck for the rest of your career, and sure enough, he has. And Lamar Jackson hasn't won a big playoff game in his life, and he probably never will.
After what happened with Michael Vick, we can finally say that his bark is worse than his bite.
Yeah. But
anyways, moving. Go ahead, Joe. Go ahead.
I was gonna say real quick, and Kevin, you might want to make good note of this. If y'all want Trey Lance to be a good, durable, mobile quarterback, tell him to stay away from Cam Newton. Please tell him to stay away from Cam Newton.
I just got breaking news. Cam Newton, the new quarterback for Washington.
Bullshit.
No,
how mad would everybody be?
I'm just kidding. I'm just completely kidding. Don't worry. He's going to be the new quarterback for the 49ers.
How mad would everybody be if Tom Brady decides to pull out a damn Brett Favre on everybody and come back next year? For another 5 years.
I just thought about it. What if Brady goes to Washington? And what if they were the Washington Revolution? I'm going to start a new football revolution. Damn it, Brady, we thought you were gone. No. You think you had the questions answered? Well, I change the questions.
Hey,
you think you have all the answers? I change the questions.
Yep.
Hey, I'd rather see Cam Newton I'd rather see Cam Newton in a Dallas Cowboys uniform to see Tom Brady come back, play another 5 years.
You can hear Tom Brady. Tom Brady's going to come back. He's the kiss of football. He's gonna come back, say he's gonna retire, then disappear for a year, come back and play another year. Watch, I guarantee it. This is the No More Tours tour and the Kiss Farewell Tour circa 2000 in football. I guarantee you that's what's gonna happen.
But not if his wife has anything to say about it.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, he's pretty chained down. Anyways, moving on. Because we can spend all day on this, and we can just keep ragging on Tom Brady and how he's whipped like a government mule. Let's move forward on to some other news real quick before we get into our score predictions. Let's talk about the Chicago Bears making some moves. Why don't we? Well, of course, we found out that Ryan Poles is going to be the new GM. We found out our new head coach is Eberflus. And then now we found out that I believe his name is, trying to remember if it's here it is, Luke Getsky. Luke Getsky, of course, is was the passing game coordinator and quarterbacks coach for Green Bay for a number of years. He was also the wide receivers coach as well. So he knows about working with a high caliber quarterback in Aaron Rodgers on things like his mechanics, his throwing, and everything. So, I mean, in my opinion, any change at this point with this organization is a positive change. I think in my humble opinion that Getsky could be a positive change and help build Justin Fields to be the quarterback that he's supposed to be. And I think that because I saw the press conference with Eberflus and Poles today for the first time, and they're confident they said that their goal is to build this around Justin Fields, which hopefully they do keep to that promise, because I think that was the problem with Matt Nagy. I think he was more focused on having a veteran like Andy Dalton in the spot, who we know Andy Dalton is reliable as a paper cup in the middle of a rainstorm. It's just, to me, I think that was the big issue, and the fact Ryan Pace went along with it. I think both of those things really hindered the Bears' season this past year. And I know Justin Fields was injured and all that stuff, but I think that any positive change right now, anything that could help make Justin Fields that confident quarterback with that great arm and running ability, if they could get him to that point, I think that any change right now at this point is good change. So I have high hopes, but right now I'm a little bit positive heading into this offseason.
Yeah, they have the defense is there. I think, I don't think they really have to do too much worrying about that, getting Mac back healthy. And I think they'll be all right. Just get Fields, just get him the ball, get him in a situation where he can do some stuff. And I think he's another one of those quarterbacks that's gonna, carry the league too.
Yeah, I agree. Kevin, you being kind of the football expert, do you have any thoughts on that?
I think it's good, and especially seeing as next year, here's what the Bears got to realize, and you got to realize the Bears are now without Aaron Rodgers in the division. That's a go and get it division right now. If the Packers somehow lose Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, and they're going to lose about 3 or 4 more stars because of how much they're over in salary cap space, the Bears have a very valuable chance as long as they use their skills wisely and their play call. As long as they can get on track and get Justin Fields progressing, they got a really good shot of winning the division next year. I got to say it. Without Rodgers, you know how Kirk Cousins is going to do. He's going to give up the damn game. And I think the Bears got a very good chance to capitalize on this move, especially without Aaron Rodgers in the division.
Another thing about this week that I just thought of too. I mean, Kansas City has a lot of changes that might be coming in the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
Matthews and Clark, questioning their futures in Kansas City. I mean, I think there's going to be some changes on that defensive side of the ball. And if I'm Kansas City, I am concerned because their defense, for the most part this year, was pretty solid. But when their defense did not show up at the big times when it needed to show up, it didn't happen. In the early part of the year, they were struggling. And then they went on that 8-game winning streak. And then in the AFC Championship game, they did not show up. And that's the one thing about Kansas City. If I'm a fan of them, I would be concerned because those are 2 of your best defensive players.
Yeah, it seems like there's going to be a lot of critical changes coming up this offseason, and it's going to be really interesting to see where everything lands for any team, and especially like you said, Kansas City, Chicago, even San Francisco, for instance, with Jimmy G. It's going to be interesting to see where San Fran goes from here. Raiders, even with some of their stars. Who knows?
Sure.
Green Bay over the salary cap already. It's interesting to see where Aaron Rodgers' future is and what other players or coaching staff is going to be leaving to help make room in that salary cap. So, with that being said, this offseason, I think it's going to be probably one of the more unpredictable off seasons that we've seen in a long time.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Absolutely.
I agree with that, and especially on Washington's end. I mean, I don't know if you guys know this, but Washington has the 4th best cap balance right now. So, I mean, if Ron Rivera, Jack Del Rio, and I can't remember who offensive coordinator is, but if those 3 can get together and bring some high-profile names to DC, I mean, we could be a threat before too long. So, I mean, who knows what can happen?
Scott Turner.
That's right, Scott Turner. I mean, we have the 4th highest cap salary space right now. So you better believe we're going to be in the running to make some high-profile moves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see what San Francisco does because they're in the top for a bunch of calorie space, and that's including Jimmy G's $27 million in the contract. They've already said, John Lynch just came out today and done said they've got money put aside for Deebo Samuel and Nick Bosa. That's a good thing. They already got that budgeted to re-sign them, which is key. They're not free agents yet, but they're on the end of their rookie deal next year. I'm wondering how we're going to address our secondary. If we trade Jimmy G, I can think, like we talked about, 7 or 8 destinations that would be upgraded if they got Jimmy G. Washington being one, Tampa Bay being one, New Orleans, Pittsburgh, Denver, Tennessee, Indianapolis. All those guys would be glad to have Jimmy G as their quarterback. I honestly think so.
Tampa Bay would be glad to have him. We could trade for a draft pick. We could trade for a cornerback, a veteran cornerback, because the only big-time free agents that I think the 49ers have is Jaquiski Tartt, which I think he'll re-sign. DJ Jones, our D-tackle, I think he's going to definitely re-sign. And Laken Tomlinson, our left guard. Everybody else is signed. Yeah. I think Jimmy G should go to Tampa Bay as well. I mean, it's a toss-up between him and Tennessee, Tennessee, Tampa Bay.
He'd do better in Tennessee. Tampa's a pass offense. They're not going to run the ball.
That's a good point.
No, yeah, you're definitely right on that, Kevin. Because we know that Tennessee prides itself on that running back off. It's especially with Derrick Henry, and I think that Jimmy G being a guy who I think he fits in that style of play that the Titans really, really are experts at.
So here's a question for you.
Jimmy G would excel in that, and I think he would be an excellent pick for Tennessee, especially if he could stay consistent. That's the one thing we got to watch for is his consistency. And I'm not saying Jimmy G isn't. He's not like Matt Stafford, who's been really inconsistent, or Andy Dalton, who I'm not even going to get into that discussion. But we know Jimmy G and how good he is, but can he stay consistent when it counts the most? And that's going to be the question going into this upcoming season if he fits with that new team, whether it be Tennessee, whether it be Tampa Bay. But like you said, Tennessee, perfect fit for Jimmy G if it comes down to it.
So I'm just glad that General Manager John Lynch, he feels the way I do and respects what Jimmy has brought our organization out of the mud. So he's literally going up to Jimmy and saying, hey, you know the deal. I know the deal. I want you to pick your own destination. I'm willing to give up more compensation just so you can go, or I could trade you to somewhere with less compensation because you did a lot for us. So I'm going to do for you. I want you to go somewhere where you can win. That's real respect there.
So if Garoppolo goes to Tennessee, here's another question for you guys. Where does Ryan Tannehill go from here?
Miami.
USFL. He's going to go to the USFL.
Is The Rock going to coach him?
I hope so.
You Rudy Poo Jabroni. You can't throw the ball.
Just say that to fucking Dak Prescott. Anyway, before we get too deep into that freaking wormhole about that, because we could go on for hours as we always. But there was, I think, one or two other things I wanted to get into real quick, because I know that this is it's not going to be a short show per se, but really there's not much outside of a few things we can talk about in the other sports. But really for football, that's it outside of our score prediction for the Super Bowl. So let's do it, guys. Super Bowl, of course, 2 weeks from now. Big game. Bengals, Rams. Who do you got?
Ooh, that's going to be a good game. I think Cincinnati's going to pull it out. It's weird seeing Cincinnati in there. It's great though. Somebody different. Just a surprise to see them actually in it. I think it's going to be great when they do. Cleveland, the Browns fans are going to lose their shit because they won one before them. So
when have the Browns fans not lost their shit?
Can I just say real quick, shout out to Cincinnati because they said yesterday that on the 14th we are shutting down schools for that day. Kudos to Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's right. I saw that too. That's pretty good stuff. But I think it'll be 27-17 Bengals.
It's a tough one. I am going to go with the Bengals. Who day? I'm going to pick with the Bengals. I'm going to go with the Bengals in this one. I'm going to say 24-20.
Nice.
Ooh.
Oh, I'm gonna say it is gonna be one hell of a game because you got a team that only has one win in the Super Bowl in St. Louis versus a team who has never won the Super Bowl in Cincinnati. So basically, you got a bunch of babyface teams going head to head in the biggest game of the year. I mean, it's going to be an absolute dogfight, but I'm going to put my money on the man who has pretty much kicked Cincinnati to where they are today, and that is Mr. Evan Money Mac McPherson. The Bengals are going to rely on him. Joe Burrow is going to drive him down the field, get into the field goal range. He's going to come onto the field, the biggest moment of his rookie career. He's going to put the ball through the uprights and give Cincinnati a win over the Rams in the Super Bowl by a final score of 23-21.
Whoa.
23-21.
Okay.
Guys,
What's up?
here's my dilemma. If I was to say something completely biased, I'd say Cincinnati 56-0. Fuck the Rams. Fuck that bullshit. Fuck Matt Stafford's overrated ass. The best quarterback in this game is wearing orange and black stripes, and that's Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is my favorite quarterback in the game right now. Joe Shiesty. But here's my dilemma. We've seen how the narratives from the league have done over the years. Like Randy said, Brady's been given Super Bowls. I think this is one of the cases. I'm pulling for Cincinnati. I love Burrow. I'm pulling for that Cinderella team. I said there were a problem in week 6, but the league, I think, is trying to give Matt Stafford that bullshit ring for all them years compensated for having to deal with Detroit. I think it's some bullshit that goes on. I'm not saying the refs going to completely screw the Bengals, but I think that they're trying to give Matt Stafford the ring. So I'm pulling and rooting like hell for the Bengals. Who dey? But I'm going to say the Rams going to pull it off in overtime. I am scared of the Bengals O-line against Aaron Donald. I will say that. That's a matchup
That's the
really
reason why.
terrifying me.
That's the reason why I was on the verge
If
of
they
picking the
can get in
Rams.
his face, oh my God, Aaron Donald ain't gonna let Burrow get through his arms. I'm sorry, but I love Burrow, so hopefully they can block him. I hope this is reverse psychology. Honestly, I hope my prediction don't come true, but I'm gonna say the Rams in overtime, 27-24 off a field goal. They get a stop and they get the ball back. Aaron Donald, he eats in that game, and I'm gonna make a bold prediction here. Aaron Donald is your Super Bowl MVP with 3 sacks.
Okay.
But see, and don't forget, if Burrow can somehow get past Aaron Donald, he's also got to deal with Von Miller too.
Yeah, and then Jalen Ramsey on the back end. You better watch him.
Yeah, and then Jalen Ramsey on the back end.
I just think this league is setting this up for Stafford's ring. Another home team winning the Super Bowl. That yada, yada, yada bullshit. Especially watching how the games were called the last 2 weeks. You could tell they are heavily favoring the Rams on some of these calls, and it's ridiculous. I'm sorry.
You know they are. And if I know Sean McVay, with him being a former Washington coach, if I know Sean McVay like I think I do, you know he's going to do the smartest thing, and he's going to be looking at tapes of Jamar Chase, and he's going to be looking at his in routes, his out routes, his slants, his curls, his seam routes, no matter what Jamar Chase has run, and he is going to, I wouldn't necessarily say coach, but he is going to run Jalen Ramsey to the ground, because you know for a fact that McVay is going to put Ramsey on Jamar Chase in the Super Bowl. trying to do everything he can to shut down Jamar Chase. You know he's going to do that.
But I will say, if the Bengals pull it out, and hope like hell they do. But if they pull it out, we all know who the MVP is going to be. Big Joe Shiesty about to be the MVP of that game. We know that.
That's what I'm
But
thinking.
the Rams, I don't trust Stafford. I'm sorry. I trust Burrow more than I trust. Put it like this. I trust Joe Burrow without a fucking offensive line more than I trust Matt Stafford in that offense with Odell Beckham and Cooper Kupp. I'm sorry. Just from how I've seen the last 3 weeks with Stafford leading the league, he's got a offense from hell all year, and he leads the league in interceptions. He's a more glorified version of Jameis Winston, for God's sake. Oh, he's throwing for 4,000 or 5,000 yards. He's throwing for this many touchdowns, but 18 interceptions. Come on, man. And that
he was tied with Tannehill for the most picks.
Holy shit. Tied with Ryan freaking Tannehill. Holy crap.
Because, see, that's the one thing that scares me about this Super Bowl in 2 weeks is the fact that who's going to make that critical mistake when it matters the most? And we keep on saying that Stafford, he's going to make that critical mistake. And he made a critical pick in that first quarter against San Francisco in the championship game. And he almost made the biggest one.
He almost gave up the damn game in the fourth quarter.
When Todd dropped the pick, I'm like, what are you doing?
Duck in the fourth quarter.
Like, what are you doing? You almost gave the game away. And this Super Bowl is going to be interesting because these two teams all season long did not play each other.
I'm a side with the best player on the field. And I like Joe Burrow is the best, but I mean that damn Aaron Donald. Oh my God, he runs circles around any other defender in the league. I can't go against Aaron Donald. I think Matt Stafford's gonna fuck up, but I think this defense is gonna win. Defense wins championships.
That's
the Bengals
my
are gonna play good defense as well.
Because the
defense wins championships.
The Bengals O-line, if they can correct that offensive line in the offseason in the next couple of years, man, like they are the most overachieving team this year. Like they are playing amazing and they're playing great ball. And it's a great story. I mean, not only that, but here's another interesting statistic about this Super Bowl. This is the first Super Bowl where no teams in the top 3 seeds are in the Super Bowl. Both teams are the number 4 seed.
I happened to see that the other day, and
that's the first time that's happened too.
I actually just did some research of my own, and I saw that the Bengals and the Rams have only played each other 14 times in the entire history of both franchises. And
that's
amazing. The Bengals have won 8 of those meetings.
And the Rams are the first team this year to host a conference championship and a Super Bowl game in the same season. That's very, very, very amazing.
Oh, yeah. Now,
I was going to say, I said this in the pre-show, and I'm going to say it to all the people that are watching out there. If Joe Burrow can guide Cincinnati to the Super Bowl, he will be the first quarterback in NFL history to have won a Heisman Trophy, a national championship, and a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So you better believe that, Joe Burrow's going to be the best that he's going to be in this game, and you know that he's going to want to play the best game of his absolute career. But you got to believe that him only being in the second year, that pressure is going to be on Joe Burrow pretty much the whole game. Not just from the Rams defensive line, but just the fans and just the overall atmosphere. I mean, I hope Joe Burrow can dig his way out of the shadows and play the best Super Bowl game of his fucking career. But
I
hope so too.
They have not had
that pressure is going to be on Joe Burrow the whole game. This.
And you know what? He's also going to have the jitters, before that game and during the first part of that game because Patrick Mahomes had the same thing happen to him in Super Bowl 54 because he was nervous as all get out, and I'm just so happy for Cincinnati because they have not had very much success in their, since their franchise has started. I mean, Boomer Esiason, the great Boomer himself, took them to the Super Bowl in 1988. And other than Boomer, he was really the only consistent quarterback in their franchise. Now they did have Carson Palmer, those years with Chad Johnson and TJ Houshmandzadeh, and all those great guys, and Corey Dillon, and just they had some good players over the last 20 some odd years, but they never had a consistent franchise. I mean, sure, Andy Dalton, AJ Green, you kidding me? I mean, just a great combo for 6-7 years in Cincinnati, but they never had a guy like Joe Burrow since Boomer that has been this cool under the pressure. No matter how many times this kid gets sacked, he gets up off his ass and says, "What else you got?" He's got intensity, the integrity, and the fortitude to get up and keep playing the game. No matter how many picks he throws, he reminds me of Mahomes and Allen merged into one.
Yeah, I agree with that, but one other quick aspect from the Bengals teams from back in the day with Carson Palmer, Chad Johnson, Houshmandzadeh, and all them. They had a great team. They had great teams back then, but
who was their head coach?
You had one of the biggest playoff losers in Marvin Lewis as their head coach.
Exactly my point.
Yep. My God. Marvin Lewis didn't even win a single playoff game when he was a head coach.
Nope.
He makes Rex Ryan look like a genius as a head coach.
Yeah.
But who still hasn't given their score yet?
You?
I think I'm the only one.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, but I'm about to say, Ashley, I think you're the only one.
I just been sitting listening to this awesome combo, man.
You're still the one.
Okay,
get your score.
You're done here.
I had to give a Shania reference, but it's not like that, idiot. You're still the one that haven't gave your score, but go ahead.
Yeah, I know what the reference was. That's why I said get out of here.
Yeah.
I know. I love you some Shania.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'd come on over, but it would seem weird. Anyways, no, guys, dude, the conversation you guys just had was freaking awesome. That was so good. Getting real deep into this Super Bowl, and I agree with every point you guys made. I agree. Joe Burrow has got to be the best Joe Burrow he could be. He's got to play at his highest level. He's got to, and I think that's where it's going to be the difference between Matt Stafford and Joe Burrow. Is while Matt Stafford can have his great moments, he's also been very inconsistent, where Joe Burrow has just been an absolute beast at what he's been doing. The man has got a cannon for a fucking arm. Yes. The guy, I predict will throw over 350 yards this game. He's going to have a 300 plus yard game. And it's not saying that the defense is bad. I'm just saying that he is going to just absolutely let loose. But it's going to be a close game, though. It's going to be close. Here's my score. And you might think I'm nuts, but here we go. 31-28, Cincinnati.
Ooh, love it.
Field goal, no time remaining by McPherson. Game over.
I swear to God, I hope all you guys are right and I'm wrong. I don't want them fucking Rams to win this shit. It should be Niners and fucking Bengals for a part 3. Sorry. Fuck the Rams.
No, I get you.
Fuck Stafford. Fuck Kyle Shanahan's son, Sean McVay. Fuck him. That's all I got to say.
I mean, let's
Matter
be
of fact,
honest.
even though Kyle Shanahan's still 6-1 against McVay, hey, you know what? Kyle Shanahan should file Sean McVay on his taxes because he owns them. That's his son. Yeah.
Yeah. You file Sean McVay on your taxes. You Sean McVay on your taxes is gonna say zero income.
Hey,
state taxes. State taxes. You can file him for charity.
Hey, Kyle, how you doing today? Oh, I'm doing great.
Stupid though.
I just see how the league gives shit, and this whole time you watch SportsCenter, all they talk about is Stafford's chance, Stafford's ring, Stafford's opportunity, Odell Beckham rejuvenated, this, that, Rams this, no first round pick. But I'll tell you one key to this Super Bowl. I'll tell you one key that I will not let the fucking Rams live up to. If they lose to Cincinnati, this team won't be no better than the fucking 2018 team that lost to the Patriots. You cry talking about you need someone better than Goff.
That's a good
someone
point.
To get you to the promised land. Because you know why? You got Stafford to get you to the Super Bowl, but if you lose, what did he do different than Jared Goff? I'm sorry.
Exactly, because this is the biggest game. The biggest game. And when the Rams went to the Super Bowl against the Patriots in 2018, 13-3, the lowest scoring Super Bowl of all time. And don't give me this bullshit that, this was the Rams got screwed. No, Jared Goff looked like a deer in the freaking headlights. Yep. He was so bad in this game.
Not just the Rams itself, but the Patriots too, because if I remember correctly, I don't think an offensive touchdown was scored in that game. I think the only touchdown was by the Patriots defense in that game, if I remember correctly. I may be wrong, but I think that's what it was.
I can't remember, but we can throw all the scenarios on the table. I mean, when you think about it, the Super Bowl that Kansas City won, everybody was talking about Kansas City, and they ended up winning the Super Bowl. And I understand that. 50 years since they won their last Super Bowl. But, you could honestly make the argument that Kansas City got away with some of the calls in that game. But at the same time, San Francisco had a job to protect the lead, and they didn't do it. It goes both ways. But the Rams have nobody to blame, but me, but themselves if they lose this game. Because honestly, this will be worse than Super Bowl 53.
Oh, the stakes are at an all-time high just because, you gave away your future draft picks till 2025 because you said Jared Goff can't get the job done. I see where he's coming from. But at the same time, you get all this talent, Von Miller, Odell Beckham, Cooper Kupp you've been done had, all them guys defensively. You got Jalen Ramsey. You get Matt Stafford.
Eric Weddle comes out of retirement.
But what was his job? His job is to win the whole thing. That's why they gave up the future. So if they still go to the Super Bowl and lose to Cincinnati, it's still a failed experiment. I'm sorry, because they did the same result as the Jared Goff era. Get there and lose. So if they don't win, this project was a bust.
You could honestly say that if the Rams lose Super Bowl 56 to Cincinnati, this is going to be in the top 5 of the worst super team losses in American sports history, because it's right up there with the 2011 Miami Heat when they lost to the Dallas Mavericks in 6 games. That was a super team that got destroyed when it mattered the most. LeBron and D-Wade were coughing, fake coughing because Nowitzki was sick. What did Dirk do? He channeled his anger into the game that he loves, basketball, and they won that championship. If this super team in the Rams, you trade away every future pick that you had in your grasp to get superstars on this team. And Matthew Stafford has proved all of us wrong week after week, making critical plays when they mattered the most. He hasn't been phased yet. This is his first Super Bowl. See, if this would have been Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City in the Super Bowl, Mahomes would have had no pressure on him because he's won the Super Bowl and he's lost a Super Bowl. He's already won the big game and lost the big game. Matthew Stafford has never experienced the big game in his life. And
the Rams have pressure. They have the most pressure. Cincinnati has not a damn bit of pressure.
None. Because
Cincinnati was supposed to be sitting on their couch in 3rd to 4th place again, like experts say, and now they're in the Super Bowl. Hell, they got nothing to lose. Shit, they playing with house money. That's a dangerous team. The Rams have everything to lose. Imagine the headlines. You're playing a Super Bowl at home with a team that's supposed to be better than your Jared Goff team, and you still come up short. Boy, that will that will be a big failure.
I'm going to make a prediction here. I'm thinking the Rams are going to be favored by, they're probably going to be favored by at least 10 to 16. And Cincinnati will cover the spread and win the fucking game.
Well, at least the early Vegas odds are Rams favored by 4.
And I saw that, but I'm thinking that the spread's going to climb a little bit higher each other day or so. Because I mean, it's not New England. It's not New England, New York Super Bowl 42 numbers, because it's far from that. But the Rams are going to be favored by double digits. I think they're going to be favored by at least 10 to maybe 16. I'm thinking 10 or 12. But I think regardless, Cincinnati, if they're saying, oh, they'll lose by 4, by 6, regardless, they're covering the spread and winning the game. Because I do not trust the Rams to get it done in a big spot, because of the simple fact for 2 weeks in a row, they have almost blown the game against Tampa Bay and against San Francisco on critical plays that were not made. Could you imagine if Stafford would have fumbled that ball in his own territory against Tampa Bay? The game would have been over right there, because all Tampa Bay would have had to do was kick the field goal. Peace, you're done.
Same way with San Francisco. If Stafford throws that pick, you got no timeouts remaining. All they have to literally do is run the ball, pick up a couple first downs, get deep in territory, run the ball. That game's over.
And look at the Bengals side of the coin. I mean, the games that they've had this year in the playoffs. I mean, Tennessee, Kansas City, they were not favored to win those games. And the Bengals proved, even with a shitty offensive line, if they can make, and they did it. They made Ryan Tannehill be Ryan Tannehill, the great Ryan Tannehill that he is at throwing picks when they mattered the most. And then they took a great heavyweight Kansas City offensive team, made Patrick Mahomes go from looking like Joe Montana and Tom Brady to looking like fucking Mark Sanchez. I mean,
he didn't run into his left tackle's ass, did he?
No, well, I hope and pray he didn't, but I'm glad he didn't, but the simple fact that Mahomes was, because nobody is giving Cincinnati's defense any praise at all. I mean, their defense is really good, and it's just like San Francisco. Cincinnati's defense gets no love, and never. And this is why I am banking on Cincinnati to make a critical play in this game on the defensive end, on the special teams end. I don't know which way. I hope that they find a way to win this game, because they're the underdog and everybody loves a good underdog story. And it's been a hell of a ride for Cincinnati. They shouldn't be here, but this is why we love football, because football is the greatest American sport known to man, because anybody can win at any given time on any given Sunday. And this goes to show you that you can be in somewhat building mode, like Cincinnati has been in the last couple of years, making a few chip pieces on the table. Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, and all these great guys that are on this team now, Higgins and Mixon being there all those years, and and Boyd, being a great target, in the slot. I mean, Cincinnati has a lot of great young weapons that will be around for years to come. And even if they lose this game, they have nothing to be ashamed of, because nobody picked them to be AFC North champions. They picked Pittsburgh. God forbid, how could you pick Pittsburgh? What an old man, look at his life been, and Baltimore, being favored to win that division, and Cleveland being favored to win that division. And what did they do? Baker Mayfield did nothing but revert back to Browns territory, being absolute shit. In Jackson and the Ravens were turning over the ball and winning games barely by the skin of their teeth when they should have been losing some of those games, but Baltimore found a way to screw it up. And I'm honestly glad that Cincinnati found a way to win the AFC North division. I mean,
it just goes to show you it's a proven fact that Joe Burrow already is better than all three of his opponent, or all three of the other quarterbacks in that division. He runs circles around all of them already.
Yeah. And he has the better weapons.
Can we please stop saying Dak Prescott has come back player of the year? I've seen enough from this Cincinnati team and Joe Burrow to automatically crown him comeback player of the year already. No doubt about it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. That's for sure. But this is going to be a hell of a game. I believe the date of this game is February
13th.
13th. Yep, February 13th on Fox, correct? Or CBS?
NBC.
NBC, yes, definitely. It'll be
Man.
Oh, hell, we got to hear Chris Collinsworth here, Jesus.
Yeah.
Trust me, I've got the needle ready to put through both of my eardrums. But
But hey, we can all agree that the halftime show finally, thank God, it's gonna be amazing.
Oh yes, it's gonna be jumping.
It's gonna be a hell of a halftime show. I mean, it's not the prototypical rock halftime show like we want, Steven, but at least it's something for the old school R&B and hip hop fans. So I'll say that much. And especially me being a massive fan of Eminem, like I said on last week's show, it's going to be great. It's going to be one hell of a halftime show. But,
and I'm telling you, Nita Strauss, man, oh my goodness, I am so excited. You know, I don't know if she's been confirmed yet, but she needs to play the Star Spangled Banner at the start of the Super Bowl. That would be incredible.
For those of you who may not know, Nita Strauss was one of the two guitar players in Alice Cooper's touring and recording band as well.
Got a great solo career with her boyfriend on drums.
Of course, Control Chaos, her first record, and then Dead Inside, the new single with her and David Draymond of Disturbed, which was great.
Man, if people have never heard her play, you know, she kills it, man. I mean, she killed it at WrestleMania 34 in New Orleans, and man, if she can get to play the national anthem on the biggest stage of football, man, that'd be awesome.
Yes.
Hey, I actually just did a Google search, and it has been confirmed that a singer by the name of Mickey Guyton is going to be performing the national anthem at the Super Bowl.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, Mickey Guyton is a country music singer. Not one of my favorites personally, but I'm not going to get into detail about, you know, country music and all that, because we got more topics we got to cover before we call it a night here on our Nation Sports Show. By the way, excellent discussion, guys, on the Super Bowl. That was amazing. That was awesome. That was great. Everybody participated. It was a long, lengthy discussion. I mean, this is a big game coming up, and you know what? We're all going to enjoy it February 13th on NBC. It's going to be great. But let's go ahead and move forward. Let's talk a little NBA. And that is mainly I just want to get into some injury notes that came out this past couple of days. Of course, the Atlanta Hawks' Trae Young, currently dealing with the shoulder contusion, was out last night when they lost last night to, I believe it was the Wizards. Right, it was just reported earlier today that Tim Hardaway Jr. underwent foot surgery. Of course, he plays for the Dallas Mavericks. There is no current timetable for his return. Also, LeBron is expected to miss another game. Shocking.
Shocker.
Knee injury, probably from flopping. Then we got the big one, which was Joe Ingles, forward for the Utah Jazz, is done for the year with the torn ACL.
That's huge.
That is huge for Utah. He is one of their star players, one of their difference makers on that team. Like I said, I'm not a big Utah Jazz follower, but I know of Joe Ingles because of just he's a star caliber player on that team, and unfortunately he's done for the year. Wish him all the best in his recovery. Definitely. But really I want to you mentioned real quick, Kevin, about Golden State and their big game that they had the other night, especially with Klay Thompson really returning to form as one of the Splash Brothers, as he should be. Steph Curry, I think the other night also scored 40 as well.
Last night he scored 40.
Yeah, last night Steph had a really huge game last night. Yeah,
including 21 points in the fourth quarter.
Once again, man, Steph Curry proving why he's one of the best pure shooters in the game. But let's see here, real quick. Let's get into a quick score update since we have a little bit of time before we close the show out. I know that there's been some games going on. Pistons are leading the Pelicans right now, 83-77 in the third. Bucks are leading the Wizards, 59-43 in the third. Heat's leading the Raptors, 62-50 in the third. Bulls are leading the Magic 49-45. T-Wolves leading the Nuggets 44-32 in the second. And the Spurs are leading the Warriors 15-10 in the first. And then the other game tonight is the Nets and the Suns, 10 p.m. Eastern on TNT, the home of AEW, Rampage. And that's here's some NHL scores. Bruins leading the Kraken 2-0 in the second. Lightning beating the Sharks 2-1 in the second. Maple Leafs leading the Devils 6-0 in the second.
Oh,
God.
wow.
Devils getting their ass whipped. Man, that's a huge fucking difference. It's like leading 125.
They must be beating them up and breaking their necks.
It's like leading 125-70 in the third or some shit.
Yeah.
Rangers leading the Panthers 3-2 in the second. Tie game between the Jets and the Flyers in the second. Tie game between the Capitals and the Penguins in the second. Senators and Islanders 2-1. Right now, Islanders over the Senators. The Canucks and Predators are tied to 2 apiece. And tied at 1 apiece, the Flames and the Stars. Also tonight, 2 games on ESPN Plus, both at 10 p.m. Eastern. Coyotes and the Avalanche, and the Sabres and the Golden Knights. So that's a little quick score update there. Let's go ahead and get into 1 or 2 final news notes for today. This goes towards the MMA. This one goes towards the MMA. Well, we got to, of course, mention, speaking of MMA, even though she's not MMA no more, Ronda Rousey made her triumphant return to the WWE the other night at the Royal Rumble. Not only appearing in the Rumble, but also winning it. To some people,
Baddest woman on the planet.
Dude, when she came out and Bad Reputation hit them PA speakers, dude, that crowd lost their freaking minds. I mean, came out there, no smiles, all badass, coming out there, and boy, oh boy, she is back to where she left off in 2019 when she was the women's champion. And it's going to be rather interesting to see who she picks to go for at WrestleMania. But see, we all want to see Ronda versus Becky because that is the story. It's right there. Right there.
But with WWE's inconsistent booking, who the fuck knows what's gonna happen? But
actually, I pretty much know what's gonna happen because I read up on WWE news all the time.
But here's one thing: you can't always trust the dirt sheets. There's only a few that are correct out there. Sean Ross Sapp.
But it's actually Sean Ross Sapp that actually reported this.
Good.
Ronda Rousey is expected to make her decision this upcoming Friday on SmackDown.
Yep.
And a lot of people are saying that she's going to choose to face Charlotte at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
With the big match against Becky coming at next year's WrestleMania. And I'm like,
man, that's too far to plan out.
Yeah, it is. It's way too far
to plan out. What the fuck is WWE trying to do here?
You have the story right there in your grasp, and you're gonna. Don't get me wrong. Ronda and Charlotte should still be good, but there's no story, none.
But this is WWE booking you're talking about. Come on, they always do.
This is WWE creative team you're talking about here. I'd rather see.
Dude, I don't know who booked. I don't know who booked the NFC. I don't know who booked the NFC freaking the NFC Championship game. But man, they need to be writers for Monday Night Raw.
Hey, I'd rather go to Texas Stadium and watch the Dallas Cowboys in person play a home game.
I'd rather watch the Houston Texans with Josh McCown as the head coach.
I'd rather watch the Houston Oilers blow it against Buffalo 35-3. Oops. Then.
Ooh. Sore subject there for people. Sorry,
Oilers fans. Sorry, Brian.
38-3. Golly.
Let's try not to remember that score if you're that type of fan. Oh my
38-35. Damn.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bad.
But
actually it was 41-38.
41-38. Thank you.
But yeah, I just wanted to mention about Ronda because she is still one of the greatest women's MMA fighters. So I wanted to give that a quick mention.
Brock
the main
Lesnar
thing
winning
I
the
wanna
Royal
talk
Rumble, and that
Yep,
was cool.
that was a great pop. Also, quick shout out to Mickey James as well with her
Yes.
history as the first contracted champion from another company to appear in a Royal Rumble match. That has never happened before. Congratulations to Mickey. Now I want to get into real quick fight that's not official, but it's more than likely going to happen. And that is that a UFC fight night, which is scheduled for April 30th. There is no location, no set main event yet, but the fight that they're looking to announce is two legends who appear like this could be a retirement fight for them, and that is Joe J-Lo Lozon and Donald the Cowboy Cerrone.
Okay.
Two men who have kind of been up and down the past couple of years with their win streaks and loss streaks. This may be the end of the road for them as far as either fighting or as far as the octagon goes. I know Cowboy has kind of been on a little bit of a win-loss skid, kind of, here and there. Joe has been around forever. Joe Lozon, he's been around since I think the first couple seasons of The Ultimate Fighter. So he's been around for a long, long time. Both fighters are still great in their own rights. Joe Lozon has been in some major fights. We know what the history of Cowboy dating back to the WEC days. So it should be a great fight nonetheless, but this may be the end of the road for one, if not both of them.
And saying you can't forget about the big news that broke. I think it was literally the day after our show last week. Francis Ngannou is going to have surgery to repair his MCL and ACL, so he's facing a 9-month recovery.
Oof.
So it's going to be a while before we see him fight again.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, that fight did some damage to him. Hence why I think he took him to the ground. That's why he's focused on his ground game because of that injury. I mean, adrenaline does a lot of crazy things, but even when you have that type of injury, your stance and everything gets thrown off because you have to use your other leg to put pressure on because you can't put pressure on that other knee. So I think taking him to the ground was the smart idea in that fight, which of course Francis Ngannou ended up winning. So, but yeah, definitely best wishes out to Francis.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Speedy recovery.
Absolutely. But as far as I know, that's it for everything we got to cover. Final thoughts. Let's go with Randy first.
A great show. Like you said, it was good discussion on the Super Bowl. Good insight from everyone. I sat back like you did and took it all in because these guys are you guys know what you're talking about. And and I personally hope that I was pissed about it last year because of a certain quarterback, but it's happened this year. Now in 2 years, the Super Bowl is in Allegiant Stadium, so I'm hoping this narrative continues, and I hope that certain home team is in that. Shit, I hope it's next year, but we'll see. We'll see what the new regime brings. I mean, they did bring a cheater in, who confirmed it was a fumble. By the way, he confirmed. So I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear that. I'm still, even though I'm still pissed about the tuck rule. He confirmed it was a fumble. So there you go. But I think it's going to be interesting to see where the Raiders go. This offseason is going to be awesome for a lot of teams. And when the Raiders get Devontae Adams, don't be mad.
And I'm not gonna be mad because that means Green Bay's gonna suck even more. So that helps me out. Thank you.
Right.
That just makes my world a little bit brighter.
But
definitely, I agree with you, Randy. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, great show, guys, and thanks for having me as always.
As always, definitely. Joe, your final thoughts.
Another great show with you. And yeah, I guess I'm gonna say it, motherfuckers, because that's who we are. Yeah. Another great show with you guys. Excellent discussion on the Super Bowl, and I mean tomorrow we finally tomorrow is finally going to arrive. Washington's going to have their new name, but
Which should be interesting.
it's going to be interesting. But to
Commanders.
me, it doesn't matter what the name is going to be because as a diehard Washington fan, ever since I came out of the womb, as a diehard Washington fan, to me, they're always going to be known as the Redskins. Redskins then, Redskins now, Redskins forever. I mean, it don't matter what the name's going to be, they're always going to be known as the Redskins to me.
Absolutely.
Always.
Absolutely.
To me too, because I always forget and call him that. So,
Team pride. Team pride. We get that.
Yeah,
Team pride. Absolutely. Kevin, your final thoughts.
Man, that's a good show with you guys. And boy, I hate to see this postseason dwindling down to the end because what one hell of a postseason we've had.
Oh my God.
Man,
yes.
Just like in the regular season, the postseason's been the same mentality. Any given Sunday, there ain't no such thing as home field advantage. No such thing as a bye week advantage. Everybody was able to get beat in any given Sunday. And boy, you talk about some Cinderella stories with the Bengals and the Niners, and you talk about a super team and the Rams and the Chiefs. And boy, it's just been one wild postseason. And I'm just excited for the 2 weeks from now, the Super Bowl Sunday, excited for the halftime show. And I'm excited to discuss those results with you fellas on the next or the show after the Super Bowl.
Absolutely. Next week's show is going to be kind of a weird show because we're not going to have no football to talk about, but it's okay. We might do some sort of theme show, maybe a top five.
You know what? You just read my mind. What I was just thinking, we ought to do like our top 10, whatever we can think of our favorite games throughout the entire NFL season. Because believe me, this has been one of the best NFL seasons in quite some time. And the biggest reason why is because the crowds are finally back. Because 2020 was a very odd year in the NFL season, and having the fans back gave us some entertaining games throughout the entire regular season this year. So I think we should do that next week. Yeah, we'll cover whatever. You know what, Joey? You should go to the freaking command center right now. Talk to the owners of the Washington no names right now and say, hey, guys, what's the name of the team right now? Tell me now. I won't break it. You guys will break it, but I want the name right now, damn it.
Well, you did say command center. I mean, is that some kind of red herring?
It is expected that the name will be released tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. on the Today Show. So that's the big rumor right now is when the name will be released, 9 o'clock in the morning on the Today Show.
Okay, awesome. Can't wait for that. That's going to be really interesting to see what the name is. But it doesn't matter. Name, no name, it don't matter. As long as they build the team, build it right, and the team is good, that's all that matters. So name means stuff.
As long as we get Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, I'll be straight.
Hopefully you do. Make sure that team sucks even more. Steven.
Hey,
Last up, brother.
Hey, it'll be great because we'll have Adams alongside Terry McLaurin along Aaron Rodgers' thumb too. So come on, Ron Rivera, bring Rodgers and Adams to DC. Come on.
Well, before I get my final thoughts, if Rodgers comes there, your team will be sinking quicker than the Titanic. But just saying.
Come on. Come on.
Oh man.
I'm just playing.
But at this point, I'll also take you to Jimmy G or Russell Wilson. I'll take either one of the three.
Yeah, because they're a better acquisition.
It's okay. It's okay if it doesn't matter if your team stinks, Joe. My heart will go on for you.
As long as we don't get that sex convict, Mr. Deshaun Watson, I'll be set.
I just had.
I was going to say R. Kelly.
No, not him.
Well, let's just say this. He is a Washington fan, and with this camera view, he looks like he is trapped in a closet. So.
Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh. So what if I got a closet back here? So
all right. All right, Steven, wrap this shit up, bro, before we get into another hour.
In all seriousness, great show with you guys talking football and Tom Brady finally calling it quits. Hallelujah! He is done. You know, and just in all seriousness, what a great show with you guys as always. And don't forget to follow us on social media on Twitter at Owen_Sports Show, Facebook.com/Nation Sports Show. Follow the Nation's Corner on Twitter at Nation's Corner, Facebook, YouTube, everything else, all the Nation's Corner. You can check out Front Row and Hijacker and everybody on the show that will be on this weekend, you know, talking about the world of professional wrestling. And you, Ezra, will be in Chicago tomorrow night for AEW Dynamite and Rampage. And man, you got a great show to go to this week, man.
Yes. I forgot to mention that I will be live at the Wintrust Arena in Chicago for AEW Dynamite and the taping for Rampage, which I'm excited for. Not only CM Punk versus MJF for the first time ever, we got the House of Black also in action, and also for the Rampage taping, which I'm more excited for than anything. Thunder Rosa, Mercedes Martinez are going to go to war, and I'm definitely excited for that. That's going to be a women's wrestling
one hell of a match right there.
Yes.
And also, I'm planning on going to this as well. New Japan Pro Wrestling making its debut in Chicago, April 16th at the Odeum in Villa Park, Illinois. I cannot wait. I'm planning to be there. Hopefully, we'll see what happens after tickets go on sale this Friday. But enough about that. Let's close this bitch out. For Randy Guyard, for Kevin Rorie, for Joseph Thornton, and for my bro Stephen Wyand, I am Ezra Vickery, and we will see you guys next week for another great edition of our Nation's Sports Show. Take care, everybody. Have a great weekend, and prepare for Super Bowl Sunday in 2 weeks. Peace.